Welcome to Flow. Let's get started. Today we'll start off lying down. Bring the bottoms of your feet together. Open your knees away from each other. Bring one hand to your belly, one hand to your heart. Allow your eyes to close or find a soft gaze. And take these first few moments to bring your focus and awareness to your breathing. With every inhale, feel the rise of your belly and your chest. With every exhale, allow yourself to sink a little heavier into the ground. Release your hands down by your side. Keep your feet pressed together. Push down into the sides of your feet and lift your hips up into the air. Keep your knees open and away from each other. And then gently lower your hips down. We'll find that again. Push into your feet to lift your hips. And gently lower your hips down. Find this a few more times. Actively push the feet together as you lift your hips up into the air. And lower. We'll take a couple more just like this. It's a gentle way to open and activate through the hips, through the glutes. And last one, lift up, push down through your feet. And then gently lower. Reach your arms up overhead. Catch for opposite elbow. And take a side body bend. Bend your body over to the right. Try to keep your lower body as still as possible as you find this nice length from your left rib to your left hip. And then switch. Tip your body over to the left. Again, maintain the pressure between your feet. Maybe find a little bit of an extra pull all along the right side body. And then slowly bring yourself back to center. Release your arms, close your knees, pull your right knee into your chest and extend your left leg long. Use your hands on your right knee to find some easy rotations into the right hip. So you can take the right knee slightly out to the right. We'll take about 3 to 5 circles in this direction. Try to let your hip relax as much as possible. And then go ahead and start to circle this the opposite way. I'm going to take this a little more into a fuller range of motion. Extend your right leg as much as you can. Bring your right leg down, out to this side, and up and around. And do that again. Lower, out to this side, up and around. If you need to bend your left knee for some support, feel free to do that. And you can have a bent right knee as well. Take 2 more circles in this direction. And then we will move in the opposite direction. So your right leg goes out to this side, down and around, and up. And this doesn't have to look pretty or really look like anything at all. It's just a nice way to find some movement, some stable movement into the right hip joint. And after your last one, pull your right knee into your chest one more time. Give it a tight squeeze. And we'll switch sides. Pull your left knee in, extend the right leg long. And use your hands to kind of help out as you move the left knee around in little circles. The left knee, the left hip. And then take these circles in the opposite direction. And then extend your left leg as much as feels comfortable in your body. Bring your left foot down to your right foot. Swoop it out to the left side and find a nice, big, juicy circle. And we'll do about 5 of these. Again, it doesn't have to look like anything. It doesn't have to be pretty. Just want to find maybe even a bit of momentum as you find this circular path. And then start to move this in the opposite direction. So your left leg will go out to the left side. Feel free to have a bend of your right knee or your left knee. And then after your last one, pull your left knee into your chest. Give yourself a little bit of a tug on the left leg. Pull your right knee up to meet it. Both knees come in. And make opposing circles with your knees. So pull your knees away from each other and draw 3 or 4 circles moving in one direction. And then 3 or 4 circles moving in the opposite direction. Just another nice gentle way to find a bit of range of motion, get a little more opening into your hip joint. And take 1 or 2 more in this direction. And then lower your feet so they come flat to the mat. Bring your feet so they're about hips width distance apart. All toes point the same direction. And push your hips up into a bridge pose. Take a few moments of breath here. Feel this activate into your back body and open through the front of your hips. And then lower your hips with control. And we'll find that again. Push your hips up into your bridge pose. Push down into your feet. Notice if your knees are bowing away from each other. Keep them tracking over your toes. Breathe in and then lower down. Now this time a little different. Push your hips up and then cross your right ankle so it comes over your left knee, and try to open up your right knee as much as possible. And as you do this, flex your right foot a lot, but continue to lift your hips. So this is going to be a different kind of way to open up into your right hip. You may be feeling it through the front of the hip or maybe along the side there. And then lower your hips, lift your left foot up and come into a figure four, supine figure four. So you can use your hands to bring your right shin a little bit closer to your body, or you can thread your hands underneath your bottom thigh. And breathe into this space, breathe into your belly. Take a nice big breath in, and take a full big breath out. We're gonna move this into a twist. So lower your left foot down to the ground and bring your right foot so it comes down to the ground on your left side. You can scooch your left knee up slightly. That will increase a little bit of the stretch into the right hip. And then option to expand your arms here and bring your gaze over towards your right fingertips. So we're finding and allowing a bit of a twist through the spine, but then also a nice little release and stretch, good opening into the outer right glute. And slowly make your way back to center. Bring your right foot so it's flat to the mat, and then once again, bridge your hips up. An opportunity to find this activation again between sides. Lift your hips up, and then lower your hips. Now this go around, lift your hips up, hold your hips at the top, and bring your left ankle so it comes on top of your right thigh. Flex your left foot and try to open your left knee as much as you can. Continue to push your hips up to the ceiling. That's going to increase the opening in the crease of your left hip. Take a few more moments of breath. I know it's feeling a little more active along the right glute. And then gently lower your hips down to the mat. When you're ready, lift your right foot up off the ground. Supine figure four, you can catch for your shin or your thigh. You can thread your hands so they come underneath your bottom thigh. And take a few moments of breath here. You can shift your hips from side to side if you want to find a bit of movement. Take these big belly breaths. Nice big breath in. Lower your right foot and then bring your left foot so you move into a twist. So try to maintain the same figure four shape. Option to scooch your right knee closer to your right shoulder. That may give you a bit more opening into the left hip. I like to grab my left ankle with my right hand just to kind of support the stretch. And you can extend your left arm out to the left side and bring your gaze in that direction if you would like to. And just breathe here into this space. And slowly make your way back. Pull both of your knees into your chest and rock and roll yourself up. We're gonna move into a tabletop position. So make your way there. All fours tabletop, shoulders over wrists, hips over knees. And from here, we're gonna start off with a little wag of the tail. So just start to shift your hips way over to the right and then way over to the left. And you can choose to have your toes flipped under or to have the tops of your feet flat, whichever feels more stabilizing to you. And just find this shift of your hips. Try to go even further. I'm gonna move this into some circular movements through the hips. So personally, I like to have my toes flipped under here. Push your hips way over to the right, then down to your right heel, down to your left side, and make these kind of half moon, half circle movements. So start off by pushing your hips as far off to the side as you can, and then when you can't go any further, start to swoop your hips down and around. This is a really nice way to warm up through the hips, to find some range of motion, a little bit of movement into the spine as well. Make your way into a lunge position. Step your left foot so it comes outside of your left hand. Keep your left hand down to the ground and reach your right arm up. Spin your right heart space open to the ceiling. Now rotate your back heel down to the ground. You can keep your left hand down to the mat, or if it feels more comfortable, you can bring your left elbow to your left thigh. Reach your right arm over your right ear and find a moment with this long length. Push into the outside edge of your right foot. Take another few moments of breath here. We're going to start to move this posture. Take your right arm in front of your nose. turn your right toes out so you're coming into a wide, turned out second position. Your knees will track over your toes and start to floss your hips from side to side. Try to get your hips down as low as you possibly can, and then bring your hands to rest on your knees or your thighs. You can stay here. You may start to shift your shoulders forward, find a little bit of a twist, and then rotate over towards your right foot so you're back in a lunge position. Bring your right hand in front of your right foot and reach your left arm up overhead. Find this moment to open through your chest. Really try to spin your left heart space open to the ceiling. Now rotate your back heel down to the ground. And then extend your left arm so it comes over your ear. You can bring your right forearm onto your right thigh and continuously try to spin your heart space open to the ceiling. We'll take a few more moments of breath here. Continue to try to expand in all directions. Really press the outside edge of your left foot into the mat. And then take your left arm over your nose and come back into a turned out second position. So once again, your heels are in, your toes are out, your hips are low. Bring your hands onto your knees or your thighs and find a little bit of movement here. Maybe that's just moving through the hips from side to side, or you can add in some upper body elements of the shoulders or the ribs. And then make your way back over to the front of your mat, low lunge left foot. Step your left foot back to a downward facing dog. Not here for too long. Lower your knees back down to the mat. Bring your knees a little bit wider, just about the width of a yoga mat. You can bring your toes slightly apart as well. Send your hips back. So this is a combination between a child's pose and a frog pose. We're getting just a bit deeper into the groin, the hips, the inner thighs by letting our knees be slightly more spread out and trying to allow the hips to fill that space between the legs. And then also possibly feeling a nice little opening or nice little lengthening into the spine. Slowly bring your hands under your shoulders, push yourself up, and we'll finish on our backs the same way we began. Bring the bottoms of your feet together. Bring one hand to your belly, one hand to your heart. Allow your eyes to close and find a soft gaze. And what's great about returning to this posture is now you can really notice any shifts or differences you may feel in your hips especially, but other parts of your body as well. Take these final few moments to return to your breath. Thank you for joining us today. And that's your flow.